happened was we missed every single shot down the stretch. That's what we hadn't done all year. When I say we missed every shot, we missed every shot. Now,
shots really better start falling now, because now we're into tournament time. Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. Gupper and Howie, and
he cut and run.
Kentucky loses and he doesn't even show up.
Of all the games that I showed up after Louisville losses, and Daryl Bird's not here. No, he's actually in transit, right?
Yeah. He's on assignment. He is covering Cal right now. Yeah.
It is much more fun to make fun of him in person.
Well, now, Howie, give me your take. Your Louisville Cardinals, I've got to admit, shocked that they are Big East champions.
Absolutely. I believe you two guys had the team dead and buried, and you'd had the eulogy.
Yeah, and you handed us the shovel.
What an amazing performance by Louisville. Golly. To go 4 games, 4 days against very good opponents. I mean, it rolled right through them. The big win was Marquette. Yeah. And then another good win against Notre Dame, taking care of business against Cincinnati. Cards are Big East champs. Who would have thunk it? How awesome is that?
Nobody. As much as Howie would like to look backward, we're going to be about looking forward. Let's take a look at the top 4 seeds as we go through it. Kentucky, the overall #1 seed, they will play in Louisville. They've been joined by Duke, Baylor, and how about that, Indiana. Howie, give me your take on that South region.
And you tell me CBS doesn't have any influence
over
what's going to happen in that bracket. You tell me. I mean, here's the thing. ESPN's been running that commercial for, what, 3 months now. It's the Indiana shot. They're one of 2 teams to possibly beat Kentucky. And they just happen to be in Kentucky's bracket. A Sweet 16, right?
And the Duke-Kentucky book just got released on top of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Duke-Kentucky, you know, and that's too sweet. Baylor is a team that has every bit the athletic ability that Kentucky. I don't think they're as skilled, but that is a tough draw, the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Louisville's going out west. They'll be joined by conference mate Marquette, Michigan State, and Missouri.
You know, I look at that and I think the 3 and the 4 are both Big East teams. Could they not have split that some way? Michigan State is always tough. Louisville can attest to that, certainly. Missouri's got a ton of talent. That's a good 1, 2, 3, 4 as well.
Syracuse, even though they bowed out early, they're still a #1 seed. Hot on their heels is Ohio State, the regular season tri-champions of the Big Ten.
Well, and nobody wants to play Florida State these days. Ohio State's got a ton of talent. They've got the size and physicality to handle Syracuse.
And that Midwest looks like it's already a Final Four from the past. North Carolina, Kansas, Georgetown, and Michigan. You can kick the tires on that bunch.
Absolutely. Those are all big-time programs. You've got some interlopers in there with like Baylor in there, and Florida State's not usually up there. Marquette, I guess. But the rest of these are all traditional powers, especially that Midwest. I mean, like you said, it looks like a Final Four run.
All right, let's jump into it. It's time to get into our lightning round. The lightning round brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. As we remind you now, you're going to be hitting the road to chase these teams all over the place for college basketball's most prized trophy. Click it or ticket. Well, who's not hot for the University of Kentucky would be the University of Kentucky. Vanderbilt is the first team from the SEC and the first team from anywhere in the last 24 games to solve the mystery that is this UK basketball club.
But this team has been resilient. My comment to them after is maybe I'll have your attention now and you're really going to focus in and listen to what I'm saying, how we're going to have to play these next few weekends. And I said you take each weekend by itself. You don't look ahead. You look at this coming weekend. And that's the kind of stuff that I told him after the game. And in one way I said, I'm fine now. We get this off our plate. We don't have to worry about a win streak, none of that. Let's just go play this tournament. I wish this would have happened yesterday, so we got home a day earlier, but...
Well, Cal kind of got what he asked for. He said that this tournament really didn't matter to him, Howie, and I think now that he sees how his team played, losing for the first time in what seems like about 2 months, it was a feeling there for a while that perhaps Kentucky was going to pull this off against Vanderbilt. Terrence Jones had an MVP type of weekend, but it's not to be. Kentucky, I think, shot way too many threes, missed too many threes, and that's the reason they came home without the trophy from the SEC Championship. The first time Cal has ever lost an SEC tournament ball game. What's hot for the University of Louisville is Peyton Siva, and Howie previewed this as we were looking toward the Big East tournament. He talked about the fact that Peyton Siva was really starting to pick up his game, and Coach Pitino credits part of that to Jordan Theodore, the Seton Hall point guard, it was the inspiration of watching him play that allowed Siva to become the most outstanding player of the Big East Championship.
He was exhausted tonight, and I just kept trying to hang in there, son. You're the best player on the court, but he's really crossed the line into a great player. And I'll tell you, Doris, you know who he learned from? Theodore from Seton Hall. He kept watching him change his pace. And Peyton's a little quicker. I said, Peyton, watch him now. Watch him change. And he kept studying Theodore when we get ready to play for them. And he really learned a lot from him.
It's unreal. It's all Jesus. I'm just very thankful for it. By the grace of God, we was able to pull that off. Cincinnati came back and fought hard towards the end, and everybody really stepped up big.
He had just an unbelievable, outstanding performance, and he was named Most Outstanding Player. It was, dare I say it, Kemba Walker-esque.
Oh!
And that's really the guy that everybody's been comparing him to for a full year. And he just paled in comparison to Kemba Walker until this tournament. He led Louisville every step of the way. Those little stutter steps, those little floaters, that little spin move. He got into the lane. He caused them to foul him. He was absolutely tremendous. And just a remarkable, remarkable young man to be able to weather what he's gone through this year and have that kind of performance.
What was not hot for Kentucky in the SEC championship game was that three-point shooting. It really did abandon them. They took 28 threes, missed 22 of them.
I'm confident in Darius and Duran shooting balls. If you give them open looks, they're going to make them. They missed every one. Unusual for us, unusual for them. So again, that was me saying play that way. It wasn't them just shooting balls. I was saying we're going to go this way and this is what we'll do. If I did it over again, I'd say let's go inside. And we did late. You know, we kind of threw it into Terrence late, but I would tell you I would have done it.
Seems like every time the Cats cough one up in the postseason, it has to do with poor outside shooting. We saw it against West Virginia a couple of years ago. We saw it at UConn in the Final Four, and now we see it here against Vanderbilt in the championship game of the SEC. Howie, I think this team, sometimes they get lazy, and it's a lot easier to shoot threes than it is driving into the paint. But if this is the recipe that this Kentucky team tries to follow, they will not advance very deep in this NCAA tournament.
And that's what's got to, that's really the only thing that should scare UK fans. And the other thing that I want to comment, John Calipari said, you know, it was my choice to shoot outside shots, and had I had it to do over again, I would have told him to go inside.
Yeah.
Would he, though? You think? I mean, if it was really his call to have them shoot 28 threes when they've got 3 first-rounders right there in the paint, he's not that dumb.
Yeah, they're going to have to win it on the inside. Who's not hot from the Louisville side of things would be Syracuse. Even though they got a top seeding in their region, they were kicked out of the tournament. Now, the Cards players said they wanted to play Syracuse in the Big East Championship. Rick did not.
My players were all rooting for Syracuse in the locker room, saying they want to get a third shot at them. I said, "You guys are sick. You know, something wrong with you." I said, "It's not the teams, because you all know how good Cincinnati is. They beat us." I said, "It's the fans." I said, "You have to play a road game. So anytime you can get Connecticut and Syracuse out, and you can play a championship in a neutral site, it's really good for you." So, you know, Gorky kept yelling for Dion Waiters to score, score, score. I said, "Son, this is, you got to realize that we've lost to him twice now. Let's play without 16,000 people."
What's interesting to me is that Syracuse took a similar tact, or at least Jim Boeheim took a similar tact as John Calipari. Not that big of a deal. He's not really all that interested in winning a conference tournament. And, you know, I tell you, teenagers don't listen a whole lot, but if you tell them that for 2 straight weeks, they'll believe you that the tournament's not that important. Syracuse looked like a team that was just not really inspired to be there, and Cincinnati took it to them. And, you know, I wonder if Cincinnati's outside shooting might be a recipe to beat Syracuse.
The buzz at the University of Kentucky now is the fact that MKG had no rebounds in that championship game. He saved his worst game of the season for the final game of the conference tournament title.
John, I know that Michael had foul trouble, but he ended up, I think, with 0 rebounds.
No.
I mean, what was affecting his play?
I don't have any idea, and I told him that after the game. I've never been in a game that I've coached him that he played. He only played 16 minutes, but he had no rebounds in 16 minutes, and I can probably look at the tape and say there were 4 or 5, at least 6 opportunities, at least 4, that he could have rebounded balls that he just didn't come up with the balls, and that's unusual for him. So he'll be fine.
The line on MKG, not impressive, had the same number of points as fouls. That was 5. He fouled out. One of the most intriguing things that he did, though, is he surrendered his starting position to Darius Miller. And Darius Miller, he certainly responded with 16 points and 3 rebounds, but it all adds up to a Kentucky loss. And MKG has really struggled a little bit in the last few weeks. Now, he always plays hard, but he's having a little trouble now as we've hit into tournament time. Maybe it is that fabled freshman wall that he's finally hitting. They need to freshen themselves. MKG is going to have to be a big part of this title run. The buzz for the University of Louisville is playing Cincinnati for the conference championship, 2 teams that know each other very well.
Cincinnati and Louisville are like twin brothers. We work together so much. Every defensive concept are the same, so we know each other so well. Very tough to get a bucket. But our guys, to blank them from the three-point, we were going to guard that line, as I told you before the game, with our life, and we did it. We only gave up one uncontested 3 when Shane dove for the ball. Outside of that, we played the line with our...
Louisville wrote the book on how to beat Cincinnati, I believe, is just guard that three-point line. They don't have a whole lot else, and Yancey Gates isn't aggressive enough to go after it. I did think it was so interesting, though. These programs have been together for years, 30 years. I don't even know how long. They've played each other 90-something times, and they're in the Big East final together. It was a fascinating thing. It definitely is a sibling rivalry. Louisville and Cincinnati fans have always been rivals. And interesting for Shane Bohannon, too, because he committed to one, and then they chanted his name, and Cincy hates you, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of motivation there.
And how we had it been Cincinnati replaced by Syracuse against Louisville in the championship game, it might have been shirts and skins with those 2 teams both wearing orange uniforms.
It would be fluorescent everywhere.
Everywhere. And when we come back on the Red and Blue Review, we will tell you why Cal says his team is not made up of a bunch of machines. As we head to the break, here's how to get all the information you want about Kentucky basketball as we head into the postseason. Go to the Cat's Paws website.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and now is the time to get your new truck. Bachman has more Chevy trucks than any other dealer, all at fantastic prices. You'll get every Chevy incentive plus exclusive Bachman discounts during Chevy Truck Month. Tremendous selection of Silverados and every dependable Chevy truck. Plus, you save more during Chevy Truck Month with exclusive Bachman discounts. All Chevrolets are created equal. Bachman makes the difference.
Hi, I'm Kevin Renfro, owner of the Becker Law Office. Our focus is personal injury law. I've been asked if that means just car wrecks. Not at all. We help people who have been injured because of unsafe conditions, product defects, drug side effects, denial of disability benefits, and other tragic injuries. No matter how you've been injured, call the Becker Law Office.
Serious, experienced, results. Call the Becker Law Office for a free evaluation. Just dial 3s.
We're the Secret family. Our family is just like yours.
We have a lot to be thankful for.
We used to take a lot of things for granted, including each other.
Until one day,
when in an instant,
a drunk driver almost took it all away. Now we cherish every moment together.
We have to.
Because we might not be as lucky next time.
What about you? It happened to us.
It can happen to you.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
Coach, forgive me for asking this. I'm from New Orleans. I've got to ask. Would you assess your chances of being back here in 2.5 weeks? How do you feel about it?
I hope we are. I love New Orleans. I hope we are. I don't know.
Howie, it's hard to believe going into the NCAA tournament, Louisville is the team with confidence, Kentucky is the team that may have lost its swagger.
It's the way it should be. It's the way that I predicted all season long.
Somebody get Daryl in here.
No, I tell you, this Louisville team's playing great. Kentucky, they've got nothing to worry about, right? It's just a hiccup.
We'll find out as we go into our Game Time storylines. Cal says this loss in the finals of the SEC Championship does not diminish the faith he has in the talent of this team.
Look, I've got a good team. Bottom line, I got a good team. I don't like tournaments like this, 3 games in 3 days. I've said it before. We have a ton of fans here. I feel bad. Well, they saw all 3 games, so they should be happy. I know they wanted us to win, but this team, we did what we were supposed to do. We just missed shots. And folks, these kids are not machines. They're not computers. It's not automatic.
Well, Darius Miller seems to be one of those guys that is almost machine-like. He can turn it on and off, and fortunately in the championship game he did finally turn it on. But when he scored with 8 minutes left in the game to put Kentucky up 59-54, Kentucky did not score again. Howie, they went 8 minutes without scoring a field goal. Kind of reminds me of Louisville's basketball season.
Well, and they've had long scoring stretches where they just couldn't score from outside. And you know what happens? They try to shoot outside shots, and if it's just not falling, that's a trouble. You have to go in the post. If you go in the post, you're not going to have those scoring droughts because you're shooting a higher percentage. You can't go 8 minutes and win an SEC title. You just can't do it.
And win any game in the NCAA tournament. You're going to run into too many good teams. Well, Rick Pitino's been saying for weeks that what his team really needed to do was get healthy. Now they're healthier, and now they're running more.
Our problem this year has been 2 ACLs, another micro fracture, and then Wayne Blackshear doesn't join us until second semester. Kevin Wedge doesn't join us until December 14th. Peyton Seeger's out 30 days. So we never got any continuity to our program, and we said toward the end of the year, look, we're going to get back to running and pressing. We couldn't do it with 7 guys. Now at least we've got a bench. Although we didn't play too much of it tonight, we do have a bench, and I think that Blackshear each game can get a few more minutes.
What's interesting to me about this was that so many of Rick Pitino's comments over the last month or so were really dismissed by folks, fans especially, saying, oh, it's just Rick talking about injuries. It's just Rick talking about injuries again. He's just running me to death. He's over the hill. He can't do this anymore. Before this tournament started, the Big East tournament, Rick Pitino said, we're going to go up there, play our style of basketball, and bring home a title. And he was absolutely right and shocked all of Louisville.
Well, this Kentucky basketball team proved one thing. They are human. They are possibly vulnerable as they head into this NCAA tournament as the overall #1 seed. Cal says this loss may be just what the Cats needed.
Maybe now everybody realizes we're not invincible. We're like everybody else out there. We're going to have to execute. We're going to have to play hard. We're going to have to play, with some aggressiveness and intensity, or we will get beat. That's just how it is, and that's for any team out there. If you think you're walking into the tournament and there's a path, there is none. You got to grind it out each game, and you're going to have to play well, or you go home.
Marcus Teague had a couple of Oreo games, if you will, in the SEC tournament. Played poorly in the first game, played well in the second game, and then poorly again in the third game. In the championship game, he was 0 for 7 shooting, including missing both 3-pointers he attempted. Did not get to the free throw line. No turnovers, 6 assists, and only 3 points. You got to have better play than that out of your point guard heading into the NCAA tournament. If the Marcus Teague that played against Florida shows up, Kentucky will be fine. If the one that got beat by Vanderbilt ends up in the NCAA tournament, Kentucky's going to look shaky pretty quickly, especially in that perhaps third-round matchup against UConn. Well, Louisville is a team that can certainly say it has been tested. They have played a bunch of strong tournament teams, including some #1 seeds, so they are ready for March.
This league is so unforgiving. So, I think when we were in Conference USA, or you guys remember being in the Metro, I think you could look at your talent and say, you could look at a schedule and say, if we play well, we can get this win. This one will be tough, this one. You just can't do that in the Big East.
And you look at Louisville's schedule now, and you think back, they beat 6 teams that won their conference tournaments. That's incredibly impressive. They had 21 games against NCAA tournament teams. That is a ton. And so, yes, Louisville does have 9 losses. They also played 21 NCAA tournament teams out of their 35 games. It was a crucible of a schedule. It was absolutely brutal. You think, they played Syracuse twice. They played Marquette twice. They played all these teams, UConn, who Kentucky may see. I mean, Louisville took some lumps. They seem to be better for it now. If they can keep this rolling, I think they've been battle-tested.
When we come back, we'll tell you some difference makers you need to know about before you fill in your brackets. As we head to the break, Howie's going to tell us about CardinalSports.com.
You got it. The best place to get all the tournament coverage, CardinalSports.com. Check it out. And we'll have post-game video and photos and all that kind of thing. Also, always got football recruiting, so be sure to check it out at CardinalSports.com.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card is available now. Play 8 great courses for one amazing price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. Hurry, they won't last long.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Edge or Explorer. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
If you're like me, you're dreading the thought of higher energy costs this season. That's why I call my friends at Doug Jones Home Improvement, who's been doing quality work at a fair price for over 40 years. Doug Jones Home Improvement offers maintenance-free replacement windows, insulated vinyl siding, and airtight entry doors. They're priced fairly with no high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. Doug Jones Home Improvement prides itself on keeping the weather outside while keeping you comfortable inside.
For a free estimate, call us at 366-0291.
When you visit Kentucky and savor some of its unique experiences, you'll be surprised by how much your vacation really comes to life. To plan your Kentucky vacation, call today or visit KentuckyTourism.com.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, the Falls Golf Resort, the Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your golf tour card now.
Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review. Going to try to help you find the difference makers that could make the difference as you scribble in your wins and losses going through the NCAA tournament. Let's start out with the bracket that includes the top-seeded Kentucky Wildcats playing in the South, playing in Louisville on Thursday. And you'll also see in that bracket Western Kentucky and Mississippi Valley State. Now, Howie, there's some real intrigue with this. Mississippi Valley State is coached by the former Kentucky player Sean Woods, and a couple of the difference makers that you need to know about here is Paul Crosby, 6'8", averaging 13 points, 7 rebounds a game. This team opened the year, Howie, they lost 11 of their first 12, but then ended up winning 20 of their last 21. Now, that is a hot streak to end on.
I like it. I love their nickname, too, the Delta Devils.
Now, we knew when Western Kentucky upset the world, really, in winning the Sun Belt Conference, that the toppers were going to be the team that Kentucky would face, and that's what's going to happen. All those guys coming to Louisville. The Hilltoppers, 15-18. They have a losing record on the season, 7-9 in the Sun Belt. Derek Gordon is their star player, 6'2" freshman, about 12 points a game and 6 rebounds a game. Key wins included Florida International, Arkansas Little Rock, Denver, North Texas. All the key losses were under fire coach Kim McDonald. Pretty amazing that those guys made a change, the last third of the season, and ended up in the NCAA tournament. And you see that Indiana will take on New Mexico State. Now let's get into the bracket involving the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville heading out west. They're going to head to Portland, Oregon. And Howie, tell me what you know about Davidson.
Well, they've got a kid named Damon Brooks, and they've essentially about 5 or 6 deep. They only played about 8 guys in that conference championship game when they played Western Carolina. They'd been favored the whole season in the Southern Conference, and Western Carolina had a losing record. I mean, they were favored big time. Up by 13 points, almost lost the entire thing, and had to win it in double overtime. So they are resilient. They've got some. They don't have anybody on this team that was on that 2008 team with Stephen Curry, but this is their first appearance since then.
Well, one of the all-time favorite cheers, I used to cover some teams, including Davidson, when I was doing television in South Carolina. One of the favorite cheers is, that's all right, that's okay, you're going to work for us one day.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the Davidson guys are pretty full of themselves.
A little cake eater,
yeah,
huh?
Louisville needs to get used to that chant. They will no doubt be hearing that. Now let's take a look at the play-in games. And Howie, I got to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised that South Florida, who did so well in the Big East this year, they're in a play-in game with California.
You know, California, of course, beat Louisville a while back. South Florida, of course, beat Louisville a little bit ago. Both of those are tough teams to take on Temple in that next round. Nobody wants to play South Florida these days. They're going to make it ugly. They're going to grind on you, and they're big and physical. They've got a great little point guard. I picked South Florida there.
And now let's take a look at the bids by conference. And Howie, I got to tell you, I'm shocked the Big East got 9 teams in as they did last year. I know you're not surprised by that, but I'm going to tell you, I think that is too many teams for what I think is a very average league.
They should have had 10.
Oh my gosh!
Absolutely should have had 10. Should have had 10. There are 10 teams in the RPI top 50, 10 teams in the BPI top 50. The Big East, it was very strong in the middle. I'm not saying they're as strong as they were last year, but very strong in the middle. Should have had 10 teams from the Big East.
Don't believe a thing he says. And on behalf of Darrell Burr, we encourage you, do not pick Vanderbilt, because they kill your bracket.
Don't pick Vandy.
See you next time on Red and Blue.
The 2012 Bluegrass Golf Tour Card featuring Chariot Run, Bardstown Country Club at Maywood, Rosewood Country Club, Indian Springs, Cave Valley Golf Resort, the Falls Golf Resort, the Bull, and Stonecrest Golf Course is available now. Get your golf tour card and play 8 great courses with cart for one low price. Call 502-964-2121 or go to shop21live.com to get yours now. You can play anytime, but you must get your golf tour card now.